Welcome to Brier's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome back to another video. And in this one we are talking about 1972. So if you just happen to stumble upon this series for the first time, basically it's just me naming my top 5 favorite albums of the year of the 1970s. And I'm only restricted to what I have in my personal collection, and this is all just my personal opinion. So if there's an album that you love but didn't get mentioned, that's where you come in. Of course, comment below some of your favorite albums of 1972, and without further ado, let's begin. Starting off at number 5, we have a debut album, and to me it's one of the great debuts, and I feel it doesn't get enough credit. So starting off, we have Steely Dan with Can't Buy a Thrill. So again, probably their best stuff comes later, but this is still a great album with some terrific songs. Of course, this is when the band was still technically a band. So you have Jeff Skunk Baxter on guitar. Then you have Danny Diaz also providing guitar. Of course, Jim Hodder on drums and percussion. David Palmer, who is a second vocalist. But of course, the two main guys is Donald Fagen on vocals and piano, and Walter Becker, who's providing bass on this album. So, starts out with Do It Again. Great opening track. What a great song to open a career with. Just, has a very Latin influence to it, which is very cool. Then after that, you have the more poppy songs like Dirty Work, which David Palmer provides some lead vocals on. And great choice, because I think the song suits David really well. Even though it would have been kind of cool to hear what Donald Fagen would have sounded like, but I think they made the right choice in the long haul. Kings is a great song as well. Midnight Cruiser. Probably my least favorite song is Only a Fool Would Say That, but still has some great moments. Really in the Years. Another drop-dead classic of theirs. I mean, the guitar work alone. If Jimmy Page says that a song has one of his favorite guitar solos, then you know he did something right. Fire in the Hole, Brooklyn. Change of the Guard is a really underrated song. Really love the keyboards on that one, and the chorus is very catchy as well. And then it closes out with Turn That Heartbeat Over Again. So again, phenomenal album. So now let's look at the packaging. Let's see what's included in this CD. So open it up. Here you have the disc right there. You just take it out. Then you have a nice little photo of the band. So very nice. Put that back. And then the booklet. It's not so much a booklet because it's just folded up. So you just unfold it. So on this side, you just have a bunch of some background information, and then you have an interview on the inside. So this is a interview of Donald Fagen and Walter Becker from 1998. Just gives you some little background info there. Kind of cool. Okay, on this side, you just have another photo of what was inside this. And you have the artwork. Then on this side, you just have the lyrics. Right, not much to say, but it's some good stuff in there. So yeah, off to a great start. That is my number 5 pick. Moving on to my number 4, we have a hard rock classic, and of course, I'm talking about Deep Purple, Machine Head. I mean, there's not really many songs on here. There's like 7 songs in total, but a lot of them are classics in their catalog. Of course, it starts off with Highway Star, just a killer song, iconic, just a great riff. Ian Gillan's vocals, just mind-blowing for the time. And of course, you have a great organ solo by John Lord as well. And of course, Ritchie Blackmore has his solo as well. Fantastic stuff. Maybe I'm a Leo. Pretty good follow-up track. Great riff as well. Pictures of Home. What a great underrated song. I feel does not get much attention. It's just fantastic. Just the riff. Even like Roger Glover has a little bass moment, which is very, very cool. Yeah, Then you have Never Before, another killer track. Smoke on the Water, I mean, what has not been said about that song? Just one of the most iconic, probably Richie's most iconic riff. Just one of the most iconic riffs in general, and one of the first riffs you learn on guitar. But yeah, it's great. Lazy, very good blues influenced track, and then closes out with Space Truckin'. Again, not that many songs, but it's just killer the whole time. So yeah, I mean, it's a classic. So yeah, it has to be on this list. So the book, not the book, but the CD, very simple. It's not too much to it. So here's the disc in this nice purple, which is very nice. I like purple. So yep, and then we look at the booklet. It's pretty short. It's not much to say. So again, the back's just not really nothing to write home about. But open it up, you just have this. You just have photos of the band here, and then it gives you the most basic info, just where it was recorded and stuff like that. So not much to say in this segment, but it's number 4, and that still says a lot. At number 3, we have a prog rock classic, and it's not the only one on this list. But of course, this is my favorite album of this band, and the album in question is Foxtrot by Genesis. And of course, here's my vinyl copy. Here's the record right there on the crimson, on the Mad Hatter crimson. I forget how you say it, but you know, I just like the label. Have the Mad Hatter there, very cool. So yeah, of course the album cover is very, very awesome as well. I hear some people say this is not a great cover, but forget them. This is terrific in my opinion. I love the fox lady there, and I love the look of the ocean. And of course we gotta show the gatefold. So here's the front, there's the back, and of course you have to open it up to get the full artwork there. So very cool indeed. And then here's what the inside looks like. Great design. Of course, there's photos of the band, and I think the producers on the bottom as well. But yeah, it gives you all the lyrics. Very cool. So let me just quickly put this away, and then we will continue here. So, yep, as I mentioned before, it's my favorite Genesis album. I think it's a perfect set of songs. So here's my CD copy, by the way. Not as impressive, but still nice to have on disc. And the back, not much to say as well. But yeah, starts out with Watchers of the Sky, just a great opening track. I love the Mellotron opening by Tony Banks on it, and then it slowly just builds. You hear Mike Rutherford on bass, and then once the song kicks in, it's just fantastic. Timetable, one of the shorter songs on the album, and kind of has a very commercial sounding. I'm kind of surprised. I don't think it was released as a single, and I kind of think it could have, because I love the piano on it, and of course Peter Gabriel's vocals on the track sound really nice. Get 'Em Out by Friday, one of Peter's character type of songs, just talking about, you know, the rise, the rents going up in England. So kind of a more somewhat comedic, but kind of trying to have like a social commentary of some sort. It's very interesting. Can Utility and the Coastliners, again, one of the shorter songs, but again, I just love it. Horizons, which is a short instrumental with a small acoustic number by Steve Hackett. Very nice, very pleasant sounding, but of course that's just to get you warmed up for the next song, which is the final song, which is of course Supper's Ready, which is a 22, almost 23-minute epic. Just so many sections throughout. It has lyrics. To this day, I still have no idea what's going on. No matter how many times I try to look it up, I still don't get it. But of course, that was Peter Gabriel at the time. But yes, so many memorable sections. It's a classic, a prog rock masterpiece. So there you have it. That's my brief review. But here, let's quickly go over what the disc has to offer. Obviously, this particular CD issue pales in comparison to the vinyl, but I'll still show. So the disc, pretty plain, not much to say about it. Then the booklets. I mean, what's good is that you still have the full artwork, which is still very nice. Very glad it still has it. The inside, it's pretty bare for the most part. Just gives you the lyrics. Then you have an ad to other Genesis albums, which I have the majority of already. I don't have some of the live stuff though, which I do want to fix. Then the final page is the rest of the lyrics. Yep. So now, there you have it. That is number 3. At number 2, we went from one prog rock classic to yet another prog rock classic. And of course, we gotta talk about the other great progressive rock band of the early 1970s. And that album is Close to the Edge by Yes. Yes, it's Yes. So here's my vinyl copy as well. And here's the back. Well, not the back, but here's the record itself. Of course, it's on the Atlantic label. Of course, you gotta show the gatefold to this one as well. So here's the back. This gives you the credits. Very nice photos of the band here. And of course, you open it up, you have more of that classic Roger Dean artwork. Love the landscape. Very nice. So only 3 songs, but each one is just so good. So let me just switch over to my CD copy now. Just the title track alone is worth admission. Again, it's another close to 20 minutes, I want to say. Is it, how long is it again? I always forget how long it is, but 18 minutes, somewhere around that mark. But yeah, it's kind of like Supper's Ready. It has a lot of distinct sections, but again, it's kind of hard which one's my favorite. I think the Close to the Edge kind of has the slight edge over Supper's Ready, at least in my opinion. But again, they're pretty different for the most part. Again, Chris Squire's bass throughout the album, just fantastic. John Anderson's vocals, just breathtaking. Steve Howe, his guitar playing is great. Rick Wakeman's keyboards, and of course Bill Bruford. This is the last album in which he would be featured on, but he provides some great drumming as well. Of course, I already talked about the title track, but of course you have And You and I, just a gorgeous, beautiful song. Love the acoustic playing, and of course the keyboards on here is so good. Again, it has a great epic feel to it, especially towards close to the conclusion or the climax. And then closes out with Siberian Khatru, which is a great, very upbeat, great rhythm, almost very bouncy, definitely gets you moving. Great way to close it out. So yeah, it's a phenomenal album. So of course this had to be on here. So now let's go over what the CD has in its packaging. So this is a 2003 issue, by the way. So you open it up. Here they replicate the Atlantic label. You take out the disc. You have a little photo of the billboard for the, assuming to promote the album and probably the tour as well. Kind of nice. Okay, on this side you have, again, what's included. So this CD issue has some bonus stuff. It has the single version of their cover of America. They have the single versions of a couple tracks like Total Mass Retain, which is just a section from the title track. An alternate version of And You and I, and a studio run-through of Siberian Khatru. So, yep, open it up here. Again, they replicate a mini version of the artwork that was on the record that I showed earlier. Kind of nice they still include it. And it does have a booklet. So just slide it out. Just plain green. That's another reason why I love the album. It's green. I love green. So, yeah. So first page, you have this nice live shot of the band at the time. They give you some little history. And of course, they still give you tons of photos. And here are the lyrics. Of course, Yes is kind of known for their kind of not really nonsensical, but it's more about how the words sound together rather than if they actually mean anything. But you can argue that they do have meaning. All right, so if that's my number 2, what could possibly be my number 1? Well, like I said in the beginning, the answer may shock you. So, but before we get to my number 1, first let's showcase some honorable mentions.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. Nobody gonna take my car. I'm gonna race it through the crowd. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time to touchdown. I hear you talking when I'm on the street. Keep me searching for a heart of gold.
And finally, at number 1, my number 1 favorite album of 1972 goes to Transformer by Lou Reed. I can already feel some of you being like, really? Lou Reed over Yes, Genesis, Deep Purple, Steely Dan? And yeah, that's my number 1. It's hard to explain why, because Lou Reed is another one of those artists where it's kind of similar to Bob Dylan, where you're either gonna love his voice or you're gonna absolutely hate it. He's not one of the great singers, and I think Lou would agree that he's no great singer. But I don't know, it's similar to Bob Dylan, even though his voice is very divisive. You can, to me, I can at least still hear the sincerity in his voice. Like whenever he writes something down, I could tell he does mean it. And that's really what a great singer-songwriter does. Of course, this is kind of more glam rock rather than singer-songwriter, so, but still, I just love the production. Of course, produced by David Bowie and Mick Ronson, which is pretty cool. This was basically David trying to help Lou Reed, because this is his second album, but his first album bombed, and so Lou was kind of considering quitting, but David was like, hey, let me help you out. And there you have it. Of course, this album did really well. So it starts out with Vicious, great opening song. Again, this song, I mean, Vicious is probably going to be that song where it's going to determine whether you're going to like the album or not, because again, it has a great guitar riff. It's a great rock song. But yeah, it really comes down to Lou's vocals for some people. Then you have Andy's Chest, which is kind of a song that was dedicated to Andy Warhol, who of course managed and produced the Velvet Underground, which of course that's where Lou got his start. And at that point, Andy was involved in an assassination attempt, which of course he survived. But so even though Lou and Andy had a little bit of a fallout, Lou decided to write this little song dedicated to him, which is kind of nice. Then it has Perfect Day. Just love that song. One of my favorite songs ever. Just this gorgeous song. Again, you feel the emotion coming through it. Like it's this slow, very melancholic sound, but I just feel the emotion, and in some regards I can relate to some of the lyrics. Hanging Round, another good upbeat song. Then you have the biggest hit on here, which is Walk on the Wild Side, which was, for the time, pretty groundbreaking with the subject matter of the song, because it basically is just telling stories of different people that Lou witnessed when he was in Andy Warhol's factory. So you have each verse talking about a different person. But yeah, then you have Makeup, which is love that song. Satellite of Love, which David Bowie provides some backing vocals, which is very cool. Wagon Wheel, very nice. New York Telephone Conversation is one of the shorter songs on the album, but very kind of an odd inclusion. But I kind of like it for it. I can't really describe it. It has somewhat of a vaudeville feel, I feel. But anyhow, I'm So Free, good rock song as well. And then it closes out with Good Night Ladies, which is kind of a nice closing song, kind of nice little bow to kind of top the album with. I'll kind of quickly read what's on the back. It kind of sums it up. So, in a historic collaboration, London's glam rock icons David Bowie and Mick Ronson joined New York City proto-punk Lou Reed to create the album that turned him into a controversial star. Walk on the Wild Side, Lou's haunting homage to Manhattan's drag queens, hustlers, and dealers, remains the strangest and coolest song to ever become a top 20 hit. That's a good way to describe that song. Yeah, the album cover is very cool as well. The photograph was done by Mick Taylor, I think that's his name. But I know he's done great photographs. I know he did the Queen. He did a lot of stuff for David Bowie and Queen as well. And I love how the title is kind of in a haze. Probably symbolizing all the drugs that Lou was doing at the time. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's now look on the inside. I do like the disc. I like that little photo of him there. Very nice. And the inside. Take out the booklet. Has a different feel. Like, it's still a booklet, but it definitely has a different texture to it. It feels really nice. I don't think I showed the back yet, but there it is. So yep, gives you a little history. Nice photographs. Another live shot of Lou there. So to kind of close out this section, I'll kind of quote, I forgot who said it, but I watched a video of a review of this album, and this person pretty much summed it up, and it kind of sums up why I love this album. This album was made by a weirdo for weirdos. That's all I'll say. And that's why it's number one. So thank you very much for watching this. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and like I said in the beginning, if there's an album that you want to talk about that's from 1972 that you love a lot, please drop in the comments. Maybe drop your top 5. Just do whatever you want. But yep, I'll see you next time. So bye for now.